Howdy folks, how y'all doing today? I have the Googan REVOLVER here. I've fished with it a little bit, so today we're going to do a review of it. We're going to talk about some of the features, we're going to show some fish catches, and finally, toward the end, we're going to talk about some strategies behind fishing this revolver. But first, let's talk about today's sponsor, Catchco. Catchco collaborates with many different companies, including the Googan Squad, to make awesome baits such as the revolver, the recon, the clutch, the banger, all sorts of hard baits for us to use and enjoy. And a great place to get them is Karls Bait and Tackle. If you shop there, be sure to use the link in the description that I have for you guys to, if you want to, buy the revolver at the end of this video or any of the other baits that Karls has. And if you're a Karls Club member, well, you get this guy 30% off. Along with many other baits. So make sure you check out this bait at Shop Karls after you're done watching this video, because, well, after you're done watching this video, you're probably going to want to have one of these. Now let's start talking about the revolver itself. Obviously, it's got a little different design than the prop baits that we typically see. The normal prop bait's going to have this prop all the way in the back. Well, the revolver has this guy in the middle, which at first you may think is a problem because it's going to smack the hook there. But remember, this guy's going through the water column and this hook's going to be pinned back. So when I've been fishing it, I've not had any problems with this prop getting stuck on this hook at all. And I've made, I don't know, close to 1,000 casts with it so far. I got this guy as soon as it came out in the wintertime. Obviously, not a great time to be fishing a plopper bait, but I've had it for a while, been excited to fish it. Next feature I want to talk about is the back here. We have a flattened out blade here. One of the features for this is to keep it from rolling over. Prop baits are notorious for rolling over and twisting your line, and they're only going to twist it in the same direction over and over and over again. So this is one of the solutions that they came up with, is to have a little flat back that will sink in the water column and keep the bait kind of straight instead of rolling it over. Obviously, if the prop gets hung up for some reason, whether it's on the hook or, I don't know, something gets caught up inside, it'll roll over still. But for the most part, I haven't had a whole lot of rollover problems, even at high speeds of reeling this guy. And lastly, I want to talk about where the hook placement is. The hook placements are both on the back of this bait. And in my experience, I catch more fish on these plopper baits from the rear hook. So having both hooks at the rear is actually pretty beneficial to me, because that's 2 times the hooks for the fish to get caught up in. And you have your plopping noise coming from the front. So if they're targeting this as the bait's going away, they're definitely going to, that got me a little bit. Let go of my wires. Let go of the wires. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. I don't even know where I was talking about. Oh, so they're going to grab it. They're going to be targeting this as the bait's moving through the water column. So they're going to get a whole mouthful of hooks. I think it's a wonderful design. I really do enjoy fishing it. You'll hear me say in the video later on when I'm fishing it that I do wish it was a little smaller size, but not much smaller. This is 4¼ inches long. I would probably like it to be 3½. Just a little bit smaller, just so for those pond guys, you definitely can catch some of those little guys that are in those small overpopulated ponds. But overall, this guy still was able to catch some pretty small fish. Probably not anything like an 8-incher or anything, but it did a really good job of catching some smaller fish, and it also caught some really good quality fish because of its size. The last thing I want to talk about is because of the size still. This guy makes quite a bit of noise in the water. Even on a breezy day, this bait actually causes quite a bit of commotion and will still get topwater bites on those pretty windy days. So now that we've kind of talked about the bait pretty much to death, let's get on over to some footage of me fishing it, and you guys can enjoy that for a minute, and then we're going to wrap this up with some strategies on how to fish this guy and where to fish it at. I said it was different. I didn't say it was gonna work. It's the Revolver is what it's called. I wish they made a smaller version of it, but I hadn't had a topwater bite in a long time. Well, we're at the right time of day.
Off the top water, you caught top. They're not going to come get it.
There you go. Yeah. I'm looking at the weather all around us. We don't have long. We're going to be heading into some storms, it looks like. It does not look like south is the way to go. It looks like north is going to be the way to go. Although, I hadn't looked at a radar to confirm. That's a little better fish.
That's probably the time with the big one you caught earlier.
He choked this thing. He wasn't even messing around with it. Now I need pliers to actually get it out of him. Get on out of here. I didn't even make you bleed.
He smells like a fish.
He didn't even make you bleed. This old Revolver's doing some work this afternoon. There you go. This is the Googan Squad's Revolver. I don't normally fish topwater this big, but man, it caught a little guy and it caught a bigger guy. I'm really impressed. He's trying to get it out. But it's on my face. It's just a little guy on this Revolver. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean,
Somebody needs to bring some minnows out here.
I literally got him in the nose hole. I mean, look how different in size. I mean, this thing's at least half the size of him, and he's attacking it. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed those fish clips. I really want to talk about the strategies behind fishing this. So really, I have caught topwater fish all the way down to 55 degrees, but it really only excels, prop baits that is, 65 plus. And I usually only fish the morning, the evening, or during the shad spawn when these fish are up shallow. Another place that I would fish it, maybe even during midday, would be over submerged grass where the fish are sunk down in this grass, just waiting, to ambush some prey, and they'll see something plopping up above them and they'll come up and get it. So that is another strategy. If it's real sunny, they may not be able to find it or locate it, but on those cloudy days, definitely a good choice. Now with this bait, you don't necessarily have to stick to real shallow areas. You can fish in areas that are 10, 12 foot deep if they're around structure or cover of some kind, like a tree, a submerged brush pile or something like that, and it'll bring the fish up because this guy makes a lot of racket, makes a lot of noise. It spins really freely, makes a lot of great noise. So you're going to be able to bring fish up from in the water column to come attack this. So don't be afraid to do some open water fishing with this guy. It's not exactly the buzz bait or a wake bait, but it's still going to bring fish up from the water column to attack it. I don't recommend really throwing this around heavy cover. Maybe between some tree stobs sticking up and that kind of thing. Maybe you can get away with that if you do a good accurate cast and retrieve it pretty in a straight line, and you're capable of keeping it out of the trees. Maybe you can do that. I've done that a few times with the smaller ones on pretty calm days, and that does prove to be an excellent way to catch them if you're confident enough with your cast and your retrieving abilities. But overall, this bait is great for anyone who's inexperienced as well. I would just really try to keep them away from brush and that kind of thing if they're not very good at aiming their cast. But if you're really trying to get someone hooked on some topwater fishing, take them out in the morning or the evening, whether it's bank fishing, fishing from the boat or whatever. Tie on one of these with some braid and they're going to have a ball. One last thing before I go, I want to talk about colors a little bit. And truthfully, I only pick out 2 colors for my topwater baits. Usually a white color, like this one. This is bone. And I fish this typically when the skies are pretty blue, not really all that cloudy. And I have a dark color, usually a black. And I'll fish that when it is cloudy and this doesn't stick out against white clouds very well. I mean, if I put it right there, if you're just glancing at it real fast, you may miss that. But if it was black, you would easily be able to see it against a white backdrop. So really, those are the only 2 colors I like to choose. But if you guys want to experiment with some of the others, feel free to. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you learned something from it. Don't forget to use my link below if you're going to go buy one of these. But you guys remember, just like always, until next time, get out there and go catch you some fish.